Alright, hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by, and if you're not new, thank you for coming back. Today's video is going to be a like chit chat, get ready with me type of video. As you can see, I already started on one eye. Which eye is it? I already started on one eye here, and so I'm going to be doing the other eye with you guys in my face. And yeah, so I'm just going to get right into it. If I don't mention a product while I'm talking, I'll probably have it pop up on the screen, or it definitely will be listed down in the description box. So definitely check there if you have any questions about the products that I'm using. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. I haven't been posting like videos or anything like that just because school has been, you know, like a priority. And yeah, you know, that's where I've been mostly. But I've also, if you've been on my channel for a little minute, you may or may not know that basically for like the duration of my channel, I was in a relationship, and I am no longer in that relationship. And so that's kind of what like the chit chat will be about. Not specifically that relationship or anything like that, but just, you know, just some words of encouragement and just what I've experienced and what I'm learning about, you know, myself at this point. So I don't know where to start. It's kind of awkward because I normally don't get like too personal on my channel, but I don't know, I just felt compelled to talk about, you know, just knowing your worth and not accepting anything less than that. And so yeah, that's basically what we're gonna be talking about today. So like I said, I was in a relationship or whatever, it ended or whatever, you know, and that's fine. But I just feel like sometimes, I don't know if you guys, this might get a little bit spiritual, religious, just letting you know. But sometimes God just takes us out of situations that we had no business being in the first place, you know. And you know, sometimes like I feel like there are multiple signs that he gives you, and as you know, followers of Christ or whatever, it's up to us to you know, adhere to those warnings and obey what he's basically, you know, showing us or whatever. And so for me personally, I ignored what he was trying to reveal to me. And sometimes we go back to, you know, people because it's familiar, or it's, you know, you believe in second chances, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes when God says no, it's a period following that no. And sometimes I feel like we put question marks where God put a period. And then we wonder why we get ourselves in situations that we have no business being in, or we bring more pain on ourselves than he intended for us to, you know, experience. So that kind of is what happened to me, basically, because God had already told me, you know, there was a reason why he tried to remove me from the situation the first time. But you know, we're human, we have emotions and stuff like that, and sometimes, you know, until you're ready to move on from a situation, or until you know, you're tired of feeling the way you're feeling, you will continuously, you know, nobody can make you get out of that except yourself. You know what I'm saying? So God can only do so much, but it's up to us to follow what he's, you know, what he's telling you to do. And so sometimes we bring that on ourselves when we don't. And shoot, what did I do next? So yeah, that's just that. And I just, you know, I feel like as a society, we are so, you know, just the way that the way people present themselves in their relationships and stuff like that. I feel like around our 20s it's a difficult time, just because, you know, like a lot of, you know, maybe the people that you graduated with or went to high school with, you know, they're getting married, having kids, you know, got the 2 kids and a dog and all that good stuff. And sometimes, you know, you know, it's normal to want those things. But I just feel like sometimes we try to rush God, and, you know, we want things done on our own timing. And God he doesn't work on our time. You know, I'm sorry to say, but he really doesn't. You know, we're on his time, and when he's ready for us to have certain things, that's when he will reveal those things, you know. But sometimes we live in a microwave society where we just want everything in 30 seconds or less. And sometimes what you get is a TV dinner when you could have had a full entree. You know what I'm saying? When you rush God, sometimes you cheat yourself out of the blessing that he has for you, or the job that he has for you, or the person that he has for you. Cheat yourself out of those things when you rush and you do stuff and you take stuff into your own hands. And sometimes we end up with, you know, we end up in situations where God never intended for us to go. And then we question God, like, God, why are you allowing me to go through this? Or why do I have to experience this? Why did I lose this job? You know, why am I falling out with this friend? Why is my relationship ending, et cetera, et cetera? And God was simply telling you, like, that was never what I intended for you. What I intended for you was 10 times more than what you see for yourself. And when we realize that what God has for us will always be better than what we have for ourselves, that's when the growth, and that's when it's easier for you to let things go, when you know that God has prepared everything that you'll ever need, but you have to be following and walking in his will and the steps that he's ordered for you in order to receive those blessings. And like I said, when we try to rush God and we try to do things on our own, let me stop. I'm going to use this color here. I just got sidetracked, but don't y'all think this palette is just so cute? I don't know if you can see like the detail, but it's like marble. This is from Shop Miss A. This thing was like $7, and I think it fits like 28 shadows. And this is huge. Like, come through. But like I was saying, like, and then sometimes we like rush from one relationship to another relationship, or whatever the situation may be. Another, you know, we haven't done, you know, fixing the things that, you know, needs to be fixed underneath the hood. And that's just the same thing like with a car. Like, if a mechanic is working on a car and there's a piece underneath the hood that needs to be worked on and needs to be fixed, you don't put that car on the road without that thing being fixed, because what's going to happen is that it's going to break down. And now it's going to take you twice as long to get to your destination, because now you have to, you know, you have to find a way to tow that car. You have to find a way to fix it, all that good stuff. So now it's costing you more than it would have ever cost you had you fixed what was underneath the hood. And that's what I want, you know, people to understand. Like, sometimes, like, don't take everything so personal. Sometimes people serve their purpose in your life. Sometimes people serve their purpose in your life and then they have to gracefully make an exit. You know, and sometimes we take that so personally, like, God, why would you allow this person to come into my life and they had no intentions on staying? Or why would you allow me to get this job and it wasn't what it's not what I thought it was going to be? But sometimes it's just, it's a filler. It serves its purpose. It's there to teach you a lesson so that next time you'll be prepared for the blessing. And, you know, that's just how I'm choosing to look at certain situations. Like, I don't know. I just feel like God is just doing so many great things in my life that I have no room for negative energy or anything that comes to destroy my peace. Like, I have no room for it. And I will not make room for it. So sometimes I feel like it's easier when you know that. It's just way easier for you to, you know, let go of situations and just say, thank you. You know, thank you, God, I understand. And it might not make sense at the time, but just know that God has no plans to harm you, but he has plans to prosper you, you know, and he knows everything that you're going to do before you do it. And that's why he gives you mercy. I was telling one of my friends at school, I was just saying, like, sometimes go to a Toyota dealership, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to have the prices on the cars, right? And if you're driving down the street, you're probably going to see more Toyotas on the road, or Fords, or whatever kind of car. But if you go to a Mercedes dealership or a Tesla dealership, they're not going to have prices on that car because they're appealing to a certain clientele. They have a certain demographic that they're trying to reach, and so they don't need to advertise their worth, because the people who are going to those lots or who want to purchase those cars, not only do they see the value in the car, but they also can afford it. And sometimes we get into friendships, relationships, or jobs where it's one or the other. So they might be able to see the value in you, and that's why they want you, but they don't have they can't keep up the maintenance. They can't afford you. You get what I'm saying? They can see the value in you, but they can't afford you. They can't afford the maintenance. They can't afford what comes with you. Sometimes you're too big of a blessing for someone. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's just not, that's not who you're supposed to be with, or that's not the job that you're supposed to be in. That's not the friendship that you're supposed to have. And so, you know, I said all that to say, just basically know your worth, you know what I'm saying? And once you know your worth, you don't have to advertise it, because the people who can afford you, the people who, the demographic or the clientele that you are appealing to, they already know your value and they can afford you. You get what I'm saying? And that comes from God, really, because he knows who you are. He knows what you need. He knows the desires of your heart. And if you follow his plan for your life, he will provide you with all those things and then some. Let me stop talking though. Let me get back to blending. But yeah. And so, you know, like I'm saying, like, it's definitely, you know, relationships are definitely not easy, but they're not hard either. You know what I'm saying? You have hard times, but a relationship shouldn't be hard. And sometimes, you know, you have to walk alone. You have to, you know, take time for yourself. And if something is not serving purpose in your life, you have to be selfish with your time. You have to be selfish with your love. You have to be selfish with your energy, and put all the energy that you and the love that you so freely give to others. You have to give that love, same love, back to yourself, because at the end of the day, besides God, you're your biggest advocate. And if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. So you have to be selfish to a certain extent. You have to protect your mental state. You have to protect your emotional, your physical. You have to protect yourself. You have to look out for yourself. And it's nothing wrong with being selfish, because when you're selfish, you know what you deserve and you won't accept anything less than that. And I feel like that's a good quality to have, because I feel like so many young women, myself included, you know, sometimes we see what's popular, we see, you know, the girls on Instagram, et cetera, and or relationship goals, and, you know, but you never know what that relationship entails. And sometimes we idolize things that we have no business idolizing, because, you know, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. The girl that you idolize on Instagram could be getting beat by her boyfriend every week, or they could just be taking pictures for the gram just so that they can keep the money flowing, but they're really unhappy. So you can't base like your happiness, or put your I don't know how I'm saying it. You can't idealize or romanticize someone else's relationship where you don't know the ins and outs. You know what I'm saying? Like, focus on you and water what waters you. I'm gonna stop talking. Let me cut this crease real quick and then I'll resume. Like I said, this is not, you know, I'm just really speaking in general here, but I'm also speaking on experience. And when God, like I said in the beginning, when God removes you from a certain situation, don't go back to that situation. I mean, I guess everybody's case is different, but the way I see it is, if he removed, you know, if he removed you from something, or he revealed something to you, it was for a reason. Like, it wasn't for kicks and giggles. And, you know, we often ask God for signs and stuff like that, but then when he gives you signs, then you start squinting and act like you can't see, you know what I'm saying? And then you ask for another one, but really he's laid out, you know, he's made it very clear his stance on things. And then as you know, a child of God or whatever, it's up to us to either disobey and appease our flesh, or obey and please him. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it hurts, you know, it hurts when you can't, when that relationship or friendship or, you know, whatever cannot continue. It definitely does hurt. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, but when you have faith in God and stop worrying about everything else, you know, things just start to fall into place for you. And, you know, you can't do one. You can't do both. It's either one or the other. You can worry and not have faith, or you can have faith and not worry. You know what I'm saying? But it cannot be both, because they cancel each other out. And so, you know, sometimes all you can say is thank you and Lord, I trust you, you know, and leave it at that. And whatever is going to happen is going to happen, but you have to have faith that God is working things out for your good. You know, he's not going to do anything that's going to harm you. And sometimes I feel like we get a little bit confused when bad things happen to us. You know, sometimes we start to blame God, but really, if we think back on it, I'm speaking for myself at this point, but if I look back on it, God was already trying to reveal things to me, you know, and as a person, I wasn't, you know, ready for that. Or I chose not to see what he was revealing to me. And so then, like I said, you bring unnecessary pain on yourself. And sometimes, like I said, some people serve their purpose, and now you're entering a new season where God needs you to be, where, you know, he needs you in a certain position, you know, just like in any sport or whatever, like football. I don't really know too much about football, but, you know, like, who is it? I don't know who hikes the ball or who catches it. Is it the quarterback? You know, somebody needs to be in position to catch that football. You feel me? So, you know, it's the same thing with God. Like, he needs you in a certain position, and he can't do what he needs to do in your life. He can't take you to the next level when you have all these distractions or extra baggage. And if you've ever flown, if you've ever been on an airplane or whatever, you know, sometimes they give you a free bag. Like, they make, they might include like a carry-on. They might include like a carry-on or a free check bag or whatever. And that's what they intended for you to bring. That's the baggage they intended for you to carry. And it's the same thing with God. Like, he knows that you come with stuff. We all come from different walks of life. We all have life experiences that have shaped us and molded us into who we are supposed to be. You know, but God says, I see that baggage and I can work with that. I can make your life story or the experiences that you went to, I can give you a testimony for that. But what happens is sometimes we start to try to take people along with us on a trip where God never intended for them to go, or we start to carry extra baggage. We start to pack extra thing and put it into our luggage. So now we not only have the baggage that they intended for us to carry, but now we're carrying other things that God never even meant for you to carry. And so when you get up to the front, when you get up there to go turn your bag in so that you can board that plane, now they're going to weigh that bag. And that first bag is going to be good because that's what they anticipated. That's what they planned for you to carry. That's the baggage that they intended for you to carry. But when you put that second bag up on the scale, that's not what they intended for you to carry. That's not what God had for you. So now they're going to put that on the scale and they're going to weigh it. And then you're going to have to come up off some cash. You're going to have to pay for that extra baggage that you're trying to take on that trip. And it's the same thing when God says, no, don't put a question mark. It's a period. And that's the end of the discussion. He said what he said. And so now, it's up to you. If you want to continue to carry that baggage over to your final destination, then you go ahead and do that. But just know you're going to have to pay for that in some form of fashion. You're going to have to pay for it financially, physically, emotionally, or mentally. Either way, you're going to have to pay for it, and not in a literal sense, but sometimes it's in a spiritual sense, or sometimes it's hindering you from getting where you need to go, or sometimes it's causing you extra pain that God never intended for you to experience. And so you have to pay for that. And then it comes a point in your life, and I think this comes with maturity and just spiritual growth, but comes a point where you have to wonder, is this worth the price that I have to pay for it? And then a smart person will know that, you know what, I'm gonna leave this bag in the airport. This stuff isn't of value to me. And I know that what God has on the other side when I reach my destination is far more than what I could put in this little bitty bag. You know what I'm saying? And so you board that plane, and then, when you shed the extra weights, the baggage that God never intended for you to carry, that's when you get on that plane, and then you are able to go where God is taking you. You're able to go to a new level. You're able to go to a new place in your life. You're able to you're able to receive the blessings that he has for you. And over there, he already provided everything for you. He's going to provide you with the clothes that you need. He's going to provide you with shelter. He's going to provide you with food and water. He's going to provide you with the helpmate that your heart desires. And what's the biggest part about this is everything that's over there has been provided by him. He's the trip coordinator, so he already knows everything that's over there has been touched by him. You get what I'm saying? And so sometimes we have to stop thinking in a worldly sense, and sometimes we have to think in the spiritual, and things that feel good at the moment cost you 10 times more later down the line. Sometimes we have to neglect our flesh and feed our spirit. It's easier said than done because there's so many influences, and especially being young in a world where so many things are normalized, sin wise. It's a little bit harder, but you have to know who you are in Christ, and you have to know who God says you are, and then walk in that. You know what I'm saying? You walk, like I said, you just have to walk and stand firm in what you believe in. And sometimes that means you might have to walk alone. That means sometimes you might have to get ridiculed. You know what I'm saying? And people that you're trying to please on earth will be the same reason why you don't make it to heaven. And when you think about it like that, it makes it so much easier for you to walk in what God has for you, and for you to be an example, or try to be an example. Like I said, because I'm not perfect and I sin and I fall short of the glory of God every day. But what I can say is I know who God has called me to be, and I'm not walking in my purpose yet, I don't think, but my spirit is hungry for that. You know what I'm saying? You know, my spirit is hungry for what God has for me. Like I want what God has for me. And now we're about to do this inner corner highlight. I don't know, I just love me a good inner corner highlight. I don't know what it is. I just feel like it just brings attention into the eyes. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. But basically, like I said, this video probably is going to be all over the place. Because, you know, I just sat down and wanted to film. And just was led to speak, you know, from the heart and stuff like that. And I hope it really is helping somebody. You know, even if it helps one person, or even if you take away one, you know, one thing that I've said, I hope, you know, that I've done what I set out to do. Because I just feel like, you know, our young women, we just, sometimes it's like, we have to prove our loyalty. We have to, you know, the measure of our love is tested by how much stuff we can put up with. And that's not, you know, that's not really how it should be. Because 9 times out of 10, if you did the same things that, you know, if women did the same thing that was done to men, they wouldn't be able to handle it. But I just feel like women were just expected to be so strong all the time. But be strong for the right person, you know what I'm saying? And one of my other friends, she was just saying, like, don't change how you love, change who you love, you know? And I just thought that was so profound. Because oftentimes, you know, after, you know, dealing with whatever, some people will be like, well, I'm never gonna, you know, I'm never gonna do this again, you know, and they change who they are based off of the actions of other people. And sometimes, like I said, you can't take stuff so personal, because sometimes it has nothing to do with you, you know, why you were mistreated. Sometimes has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other person. And sometimes, you know, unfortunately, you get the short end of the stick. But you know, sometimes you just can't take stuff personally. You just have to let it roll off your back, which is easier said than done. Like I said, I'm not saying, you know, that this is easy. I'm just speaking for me personally. But everybody is different, and you go through emotions differently. You know, you grieve, so to speak, because when you get out of a relationship, you know, there's a sense of loss there. It definitely is, especially if you go from speaking to a person, you know, like every day or something like that, to not, you know, having communication at all. It definitely is, you know, different. But, you know, eventually you have to, you know, learn to be okay with that. And there's no time limit on, you know, some people get over stuff quicker, you know, and some people, it takes everything in them to get up out the bed in the morning. You know, it's different strokes for different folks. But for me personally, you just have to move on. You know, life goes on. You know, you can sit there and dwell on the past and stuff like that. I know I won't be, you know, it's like I said, it's unfortunate, but you know, life goes on, really. But like I said, I just hope that this helps. I hope it wasn't too, like, you know, preachy or anything like that. Like I said, I know I normally don't talk about stuff like that on my channel, but it's my channel, you feel me? So I can kind of talk about what I want to talk about. So yeah, I hope it was well received. I'm using my Fenty foundation, my same combo that I've been doing for like ever at this point. It hasn't failed me yet. Let me know like down in the comments if you've dealt with similar situations and how you got through it, you know, because somebody down in the comments could probably benefit, or myself included, could probably benefit from hearing your stories and stuff like that. But it all just boils down to like knowing your self-worth, you know. Like I said, putting yourself first and not, you know, accepting, you know, we have to stop accepting the bare minimum or, you know, fragments of people or things, you know, just for the sake of, you know, having something like that's dead, you know, leave that in 2018, really, you know. I'm gonna say some people, you know, like I said, I truly believe that, you know, if you love somebody once, you'll love them forever. That's just what I believe. But it's a different, you have to love them from a, you know, some people you have to love from a distance. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have, like I said, you have to separate yourself, you know, separate so that you can elevate. And, you know, everybody can't go where you're going. Everybody can't come to the next level that God is trying to take you. And you have to be okay with that. It's either you want to get what God has for you, or do you want to, you know, settle for, you know, whatever it is that you're settling for. I'm not saying settle it in a bad way. You know, I'm just saying like anything that's not what God has for you, in my opinion, is essentially settling. Let me zoom out because I'm looking like the real Miss Potato Head. Can I zoom out? Yeah, there we go. You know, and I'm not saying that, you know, in a bad way, but anything that God does, you know, anything that is not what God intended for you is essentially settling in a sense. You know, because what, like I said, what God has for you is way more and way better. And the thing that you lost, whether it be a friendship, a job, whatever that you feel like you've lost, God won't let what you've lost be the best you've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just, sometimes you just have to think with that mentality, like, God, you know, I don't know what you're doing in this season, but don't do it without me, you know. And that's where I'm at with everything. You know, if if you've ever been through a breakup, or if, you know, if things in your life aren't necessarily going the way that you'd like, you know, sometimes it's not because God doesn't want you to have certain things. It's because he's not going to give it to somebody who's irresponsible. He's not going to bless you with such precious gifts. You know, he's not going to bless an irresponsible person with something. Okay, so we're looking a little flawless over here. This Colourpop concealer is literally my fave. But yeah, like I said, God is not gonna, you know, if you know a person can't drive, are you really gonna be getting in the car? I mean, unless you don't have a choice, are you really gonna get in the car with that person? You know, it's the same thing. Why would God give you something that he knows? Why would he bless you with something that he knows you can't take care of? And not that you won't be able to ever take care of it, but you can't take care of it yet. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you have to kind of just take a step back and try to figure out what it is that God is wanting, you know, the direction that he's wanting you to go in and the things that he's wanting you to do. You know, because like I said, we always want things on our time, and we always want God to bless mess. And, you know, and God can't, he can, you know, but I don't want to be in mess. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be in chaos. You know, my peace is the most important thing at this point, for me. And anything that is, like I said, anything that disturbs that, they gotta go. From I think the only first life update on my channel, where I was just talking about, like, you know, me getting back in school and the trials and tribulations and just things, you know, things that were supposed to go a certain way, but I'm glad that they didn't in hindsight. You know, just things like that. I'll probably link it up there, and you can kind of get a sense of who I am a little bit better as well. But yeah, that's the main thing, you know, finishing up this semester pretty strong. And next semester I'll be starting my first internship. And I'm excited. I really am excited because, you know, I'm really passionate about wanting to help youth and just teaching in general. I feel like teachers are very underappreciated. People say we're glorified babysitters, but there's so much more that teachers that, you know, that comes with the job or the role of being a teacher. And I feel like people who aren't in the field lack the knowledge to know that. And it's just so weird. Like, God is really, like, you know, some things that happen, you just know that they're God, you know. And even just little things, like I was at work the other day, and it was kind of like a couple days after the situation had happened. And, you know, so I'm at work, you know, just in my head or whatever. Not, you know, I'd naturally be mean mugging anyway. Oh, sure, you can't even see what I'm doing. I naturally be mean mugging, but like this was like for real mean mugging or whatever. And at my job or whatever, people wear these pins, you know, if they're like celebrating something or it's their birthday, yada, yada, yada. So one lady, why does my skin look red? One lady, she had on a pin, it was her birthday or whatever. And so, you know, I'm still not really like 100% myself, but if I see it, I go out of my way to make sure I say happy birthday and stuff. So I was like, you know, happy birthday. I hope you have a, you know, good birthday and stuff like that. Because she was buying a beer. And, you know, like I said that and I was like shooing her on her way. So she just like standing there and I'm just like, did you forget something? Like, pick up your cup and go. I'm confused. But it was just so weird. She just staring at me. And, you know, like, you know, when people are looking at you, like, obviously you're not mean mugging or anything like that. And so I'm just looking at her. She's looking at me. And she was just like, you have a beautiful smile. And y'all, when I tell you, like, just that's, you know, that compliment or that just, you know, words of kindness really truly turned my day around. You know, and so I was like, you know, that's nothing but God. Like, sometimes God uses other people to minister to you or just to, you know, to minister through. And I had made a post on Facebook and I was just saying, like, sometimes people reject a perfect message because it comes from an imperfect person. And sometimes, you know, like, we have to get out of that. And when I say we, I mean myself included. Sometimes we have to break free from looking at what people's circumstances and stuff like that and take what they're saying as what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we like, well, she can't really talk because she got X, Y, and Z going on, and I heard she's sleeping with the pastor. X, Y, you know, like stuff like that. Don't disregard what somebody is saying just because, you know, you're looking at their situation, because God can turn any kind of test into a testimony. You know what I'm saying? And he uses people that you would never expect. You know, he uses those people to go out and minister. And because, like, what we fail to realize sometimes is that, you know, God doesn't discriminate. Like, he can use anybody. And so we, as a people, we, meaning myself included, have to kind of get out of, you know, judging people or, you know, looking at them a certain kind of way just because they live a certain lifestyle or because, you know, they're not Bible thumping and toting and, you know, regurgitating scriptures left and right. Like, you know, sometimes it's not about that. And sometimes we have to focus on our own walk with Christ and who we are. And who he says that we are, you know, because a lot of people pray and all this stuff like that and hoop and holler and fall out in the pews on Sunday, but don't speak to God unless they need something. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I definitely have to work on as well, is just having constant communication when things are going good as well as when they're going bad. I said all that to just say, honestly, the whole point of this video, I don't even know where this video is going. You know, like I said, this is just a random chit chat, get ready with me. I hope that this helps somebody in some kind of way. Whether you took away one thing, you know, or 10 things, you know what I'm saying? I just hope it helps somebody, because I truly think that our generation is really like, like I said, we've just normalized way too many things. Like dysfunction is, you know, it's glorified now. You know, it's cute to be fighting side chicks in the streets and pouring bleach on people's clothes and, you know, doing all that extra stuff. Like it's cute. You know, that shows that you're down for somebody, or, you know, it's cute to stay in a relationship where the partner is cheating on you and doing X, Y, and Z, and you cheating back. And, you know, like, we've normalized these things, this tit for tat, this eye for an eye type situation. And I just feel like this generation is a little bit lost, because, you know, some things you just have to let go, wish them well, and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Some things don't warrant responses, and some things don't, you know, every action does not need a reaction, especially if it causes you to step out of character and it puts you out of God's will. You know what I'm saying? And I also seen this thing where it said, if you have to go out of God's will to get it, you're gonna have to stay out of his will to keep it. And y'all, when I tell y'all about fell on the floor, I was like, Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we get into situations in relationships, friendships, jobs, you know, we consult God after the fact, after we've already done what we've done, after we've already said yes to that relationship, after we've already befriended this person, after we've already accepted that job offer. And then we're like, well, God, can you bless this? You know, I need you to bless this for me. Things is starting to go left, and I need you to put your hands on, I need you to bless it. God's not going to touch something that he never had a hand in creating. You know what I'm saying? And that's sometimes where, you know, I feel like we lose sight of that. Like, you know, if God never said yes, why would you think that he would bless that? You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I have to work on, is consulting God before, you know what I'm saying? Don't wait opinion first, you know what I'm saying, on the situation before you dive into that. So yeah, that's just, you know, like I said, I apologize if this was a little bit all over the place. I apologize if it was all over the place. I'm all over the place. Clearly, like I said, it's like 12 o'clock. It's like 12:30. And I have to be up at 7 to go to work. But I really wanted to film a video, a chit chat, get ready with me. Like, I just really wanted to film one. So I filmed one. But yeah, y'all, like I said, just sound off in the comments down below. Let me know, you know, your thoughts, if you had experiences like this, you know, because like I always say this on my channel, but I definitely read the comments, I definitely respond. I'm nobody on YouTube to be out here acting like I cannot respond to a comment, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm always open to hearing, you know, from you guys. Hopefully this video allowed you to, you know, see who I am a little bit more, because somebody a while back, you know, they was trying to give constructive criticism, which I gladly appreciate. But sis was like, she wanted to see some more personality and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, sis, you know, you ain't got to come at me like that, but I appreciate it, you know. So hopefully this gives y'all a little, this kind of look like an eye like I've done before. But I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys who has clicked on this video and sat through it. It truly means a lot to me. I hope that it's touched you in some kind of way, or even encouraged you to examine the friendships or relationships or whatever that are not of God, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I know it's hard, trust me. I know it's hard to let certain situations go, certain people go, but don't let your flesh be the reason why you stop your blessing from God. Yeah, and y'all, this mascara is super bomb. It took me forever to jump on the bandwagon, but the Essence Lash Princess, like, this is holy grail status over here. And it's so cheap. It's like $4 something. I just wish that I don't know if they have a waterproof version, because on my lower lash line I normally put waterproof just because I don't want it transferring. But yeah, so yeah, we're basically done with this look. I need to do my highlight and find a lip color. I think I want to go nude. Shoot, y'all can't even see what I was doing. I think I want to go ooh, hopefully it don't look like I'm a little, do it look like I'm sick? No, I'm just joking. But it's kind of popping. This I look kind of cute. Okay, what kind of highlight am I gonna use? But I think let's try this. I haven't used this in a long time. I'm gonna use the Milani number 4 glowing highlighter. Looks like this. This will do. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna go straight to bed. Not really though, but yeah. I'm gonna do a nude lip, and I could use a brown lip liner, but I don't feel like it. So I'm gonna use this colored raine. Which one is this? I think it's colored raine. It's the brown one. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But I'm going to use this to outline my lips. Now I'm going to try this thing that I seen, what's her name? Princess Bella do, where she just puts like concealer in the middle of her lips. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll see. This is Fawn. I'm gonna go back over it with a little bit of the same color just to tone it down. Kisses lip oil. It's like super cheap, super glossy. This is the completed look. Get into it, get into these eyes, get into these lips. Yes, sir. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope some of the things that I mentioned in this video reached at least one person, and if it did, definitely let me know down in the comments. Like I said, I love to chat with you guys when you guys actually comment on my videos. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. And if you're going through a similar situation, just keep your head up, sis. You got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let nobody be stressing you out when you're too young for gray hairs, okay? So yeah, just take care of yourself, love yourself, put yourself first, and I promise you everything else will fall into place. And I think I've talked enough on this video, so I will see you guys in my next video. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who clicked on this video or who are subscribed to my channel. It truly means the world to me. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Be blessed.